Lewis Hamilton is being described as the key figure who could unlock the entire Formula One driver market, and the reason why is his uncertain future at Ferrari. According to former Red Bull and Aston Martin chief engineer Dan Fallows, the direction of driver movement in the coming seasons may rest almost entirely on what Hamilton decides to do next. Hamilton's first season with Ferrari was far from what either side expected. Across all 24 Grand Prix, the 7-time world champion failed to score a single podium finish. For the first time in his Formula One career, an entire season passed without a top 3 result. That statistic alone has reshaped the conversation around Hamilton's future. Instead of asking how many more championships he might win, the paddock is now asking a different question. How long does he want to continue if he doesn't have a car capable of winning races? Speaking on the James Allen on F1 podcast, Fallows explained why Hamilton could become the central figure in the driver market ahead of 2027. In his view, Hamilton is still clearly capable of delivering elite performances. The speed hasn't disappeared, the racecraft hasn't vanished, but motivation matters just as much as talent at this stage of a career. Fallows suggested that Hamilton doesn't strike him as the type of driver who would remain in Formula One simply for the love of racing if he isn't competitive. Unlike some drivers who enjoy racing in multiple categories or staying involved regardless of results, Hamilton appears driven by one thing above all else: winning. That doesn't mean a lack of commitment, far from it. Fallows was careful to clarify that Hamilton is deeply committed to Formula One, but commitment alone may not be enough if the machinery underneath him can't fight at the front. In that sense, Fallows drew a comparison with Fernando Alonso, while also highlighting a key difference. Alonso has shown an appetite to race almost anything, anywhere. Hamilton, on the other hand, seems focused on competing only if the conditions are right, and that distinction matters. Because if Hamilton reaches the conclusion that Ferrari cannot give him a race-winning car under the upcoming regulations, Fallows believes he may choose to walk away, possibly as early as the end of 2026. If that happens, the ripple effect would be enormous. Ferrari would suddenly need a replacement. Other teams would reshuffle plans. Contracts would be reconsidered. Young drivers would be accelerated. Fallows believes Hamilton wouldn't leave Ferrari in the dark either. If he decides to retire, he expects Hamilton to make that call early enough to give Ferrari time to react. And that's where the driver market could truly open up. Ferrari already has a potential successor waiting in the wings. British junior Oliver Bearman is gaining valuable experience with Haas and is widely seen as a future Ferrari driver. Should Hamilton step aside, Bearman becomes the most obvious internal option. But Fallows also hinted that Ferrari wouldn't be limited to just one name. A Hamilton exit would create opportunities across the grid and possibly trigger a chain reaction affecting multiple teams at once. That's why Hamilton is being labeled key. Not because he's negotiating aggressively, not because he's demanding change, but because his decision, whatever it may be, has the power to reshape the entire driver landscape. For now, Hamilton remains a Ferrari driver. There is no retirement announcement, no confirmation of an exit plan. Just questions, speculation, and a season that raised more doubts than answers. But one thing is clear. As Formula One looks ahead to a new regulation era, the driver market isn't waiting on rookies or expiring contracts or surprise performances. It's waiting on Lewis Hamilton. And until his future becomes clear, everything else remains on hold.